Recording. Okay. Hi. Hello. My name is Mike. I am the computer guy here at East Chicago Public Library. And today we're going to be talking about using a modern browser. Okay. And this is Sam. He is tech support here. Okay. So today we're going to go 2 hours. We'll give you a little break in the middle to clear your head a little bit. So what we're talking about today is using a modern browser. This is a third class. The first class was tablets and smartphones. The second class was Introduction to the Internet, where we learned the basics of how the internet works and the tools used to view the internet, which is a browser. Okay, that is the program on your computer. I'll show you a little video here in a minute. So we're going to talk about different features, synchronizing your browser settings. We're going to talk about tabbed browsing, and extensions. If you need more help, this slide is old. I'm sorry, I need to update this slide. Hello. Good. If there is something that we don't cover in class or something that you need more help with, we have a community help desk here every Tuesday and Thursday from 1 until 4 in the afternoon here at the main library. We make ourselves available up in the front to help you with anything that you might need help with technology-wise. This is an old slide saying that there's going to be no help desk on the 22nd or 24th. That is not true. This is from last year when I didn't have Sam to cover me for when I was out of town. Now I have Sam to cover me. So for help desk, you can bring in your own device. It's actually anything that you need help with. If there's people waiting in front of you, we might ask you to wait a little bit because it's first come, first serve. But you can bring in printers, desktop computers, laptops. If you need help pulling stuff from your car, we have book carts here. We can go out to your car and help you wheel something in if it's too heavy. Okay. We can fix laptops. We do a lot in there. If it's a real serious problem, sometimes we might recommend that you take it out to a professional. We can't fix everything. And also there are no drop-offs, so you can't just bring in your stuff. We don't have a way to track that. Oh, and the coffee's ready. So help yourself to some coffee and some snacks if you'd like. And so you can bring in your own device, but you must stay with your device and computer at all times. So one of the things that we do on YouTube is not only do we post these classes, but our YouTube channel's got a lot of story time, and our outreach department posts a lot of stuff. I'll also create little animated shorts on our website just to give you little tips, little 2-minute, 3-minute videos just to give you little tips. This is one of them. So I'm going to show you what these look like, and this is also going to start the class. What is a browser? We do. Watch this, and I'll be right back with your outline. So I made that animation when I was a little younger and I had no beard. Sam is getting the inserts, so I apologize. He's a little discombobulated because he had to do Yvonne's job because she's on vacation. Okay, so let's talk about a browser. Now, some of that from the video was a review from last time, talking about the programming language and Tim Berners-Lee. But this is basically a browser. So you have a few browsers on your computer. If you have a Windows computer, you have a browser called Microsoft Edge. Oh, sorry, you cannot see what I'm looking at. Hold on one second. I apologize. We lost. Share my window. Present something else. That's what I need. Window. This window. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is a browser. This is a browser called Microsoft Edge. It used to be called Internet Explorer, the Blue E. It's the browser that comes with a Windows computer. So if you have a computer that's running Windows, you've got an Edge browser. It used to be called Internet Explorer, but they kind of ruined the brand name because it was kind of slow and clunky. So they rebranded it. It still looks like a Blue E, but it's just a program that lets you look at websites on the internet. Okay. If you know the name of the website you want to go to, this box up at the top highlighted in blue, when you see it highlighted in blue, it means the text is selected and you can just type something in, type right over it. If you know the name of the website you need to get to, you can type it right in up there. Type in cnn.com and hit the enter key, and it goes to the internet and it asks you if to agree to our legal terms and privacy. Okay. That means that this computer has never been to this website CNN before. Okay. And it knows that because websites will leave something on your computer called a cookie. We'll talk about cookies in a little bit. Cookies are little pieces of text that exchange information between the website you're looking at and your computer. So when I say I agree to CNN's legal terms, it puts a little text file on my computer right now. So the next time that I go to CNN, it won't ask me that question. It'll see the little cookie saying I already answered that question, and it won't ask me again. Okay. So let's just talk a little bit about how a browser works. We've used browsers to get on the internet for a long time, and they're really simple animals. They do just a very simple thing. They just look at websites on the internet. Over time, so much more of what we do on a computer is on the internet. The early days, we just looked at a web page and just read the information that was on a web page. That's what early websites did. They were like a bulletin board or just an advertisement for like your insurance company at the corner would have their own website, right? Nowadays, not only can we watch videos and TV, we can exchange information between, we have social networking. right? We have websites where we can add information to these websites as well. They call that Web 2.0. So a browser over the years started out real simple. Just type in the name of the website that you want, maybe bookmark it so you can get to it again later. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute, okay? Or to go back and forward, okay? You've got up here, you see that little arrow on the top left? That is a back button, okay? So right now, we're on the main page of CNN.com. So I'm going to go down here to, a massive blast at a military explosive plant in Tennessee. All right. So when I click on that link, I knew it was a link because, well, look at that. More advertisements. Now, when I hit the back button, it'll take me back to the previous page that I was on. That's what the back button's for. And now that I went back, notice now up at the top left-hand corner, I've also got a forward button. So I can go backwards and forwards to different sites. Okay. If I float my mouse pointer over a link, you'll notice that the mouse pointer changes to a little hand. See that up on the screen? Changes to a little hand like that. That's telling you that if you click on this link, it's going to take you to a different page on this website that blasted military explosives, for example. Awesome. Thank you. Wow, the advertisements on CNN are taking up half the page nowadays. Look at this. Isn't that crazy? I try to scroll and half of my web page is an advertisement up at the top. I think I'm gonna have to stop using CNN as an example. So let's talk a little bit about a web page called a search engine. Okay, so what I did is I went up to the top address bar up here and I typed in google.com and I hit enter. We're going to be talking a lot about Google today, but the first thing we're going to talk about is Google as a search engine. A search engine is a specific type of web page, okay? It's just a website that's out there that lets you search for keywords on the internet. So for example, I knew the name of the website CNN.com that I wanted to go to. So I just typed in CNN.com at the front, up at the top. Sometimes you don't know the name of the website you're trying to find. Or you're just looking for general information that could be on many different websites. And that's what a search engine is used for. Okay. And there are many different search engines out there. Google.com is a search engine. Yahoo.com is a search engine. There's one called DuckDuckGo that's a search engine. MSN, which was Microsoft Network, an early search engine. They have since changed their name to Bing. They have a search engine called Bing. As a matter of fact, I'll show you what Bing looks like. If I go to bing.com and hit enter, okay, here's Microsoft Bing. Went up to $5,000, huh? Okay, great. Looks a little bit different than Google, okay? But the most prominent feature is this big search bar up at the top. If I didn't know the website name and I wanted to just do a search, I could type it in here. So for example, I'm going to type in the word Jackie Chan. I type in Jackie, and if you notice, it automatically starts to guess as to what I might be looking for. Jackie Robinson, Jackie Young, Jackie Sandler. I don't know who Jackie Sandler is. And there's Jackie Chan. I used to like Jackie Chan movies. So this just helps you not have to type as much. It'll recommend, oh, are you looking for Jackie Chan? I am. So if I click on Jackie Chan, oh, look at this. Our system has detected unusual traffic from your computer. Are you a robot? I am not a robot. Oh, great. It's wanting me to pick. So this is something they call a CAPTCHA.
Oh, what?
CAPTCHA, like capture, but with an A. And this became important because some people would make computer programs that would try to guess passwords. Okay. If you go to log into a bank, if you know the username of somebody, you could write a computer program that would guess every combination of letters and numbers to try and guess what that person's password was. Okay. That's why in the early days, they would ask you, make a complicated, big, long password. So these computer programs, it would take them 100 years to guess what your password is. That's not as important these days anymore. We don't have to have a password that is super long and complicated because they don't let you guess an infinite amount of times on a login like that anymore. They'll stop you and go, wait a minute, are you a robot? Are you a computer program just designed to try and, I don't know why CNN threw this up, but you'll see this occasionally. If it thinks that it might be a robot trying to gain access to the site, they'll throw this up there. And they'll give you sometimes a puzzle that a robot can't answer. And that's what, sometimes we can't answer it. Stairs. Okay, it let me in. Okay, so when I do a Google search for Jackie Chan, it comes up at the very top of the search, a summary of who Jackie Chan is and some pictures, an overview. His real name is Feng Shilong. And then it'll give you a list of websites that include the name Jackie Chan. Okay. And this is the list of websites. So the very first one on the list is Wikipedia. Wikipedia is an interesting website. It's an online encyclopedia that anybody in the world can edit and add information to. Okay, it's really handy. You think, wait a minute, if anybody can edit it, how can it possibly be right? Right? Well, surprisingly, it does a really good job. You have to cite your sources if you put information on Wikipedia, but anybody in this room can go to Wikipedia, you can sign up for a free account, and you can add stuff to Wikipedia, the online encyclopedia yourself. Okay. And a lot of studies have proven that the information on Wikipedia is actually more reliable than the information that's printed in the encyclopedia that's on the shelf, the library. Surprisingly. Wikipedia people come around to the library conferences and they talk to librarians because oftentimes the librarians are the experts in the community they're in about the community. So some of our librarians here at East Chicago have gone on to the East Chicago Wikipedia page and made updates themselves because they know what's going on. But like I said earlier, how do you know what's right? If anybody in the world can edit it, how do you know it's right? Well, because it's human nature that people like to tell you when you're wrong for some reason, right? So if somebody puts up something on Wikipedia that's wrong, there is a long line of people waiting to say, no, you're wrong. So it works. It does work. That being said, there has been cases where pages have been updated with wrong information and nobody noticed for a little while. They'll lock down pages and they won't let them be changed on Wikipedia if somebody dies, for example. Like when Michael Jackson died, his Wikipedia page had already been updated that he died like an hour or so before he actually died, which they were like, well, how did that happen? Well, some people think that there was somebody near where Michael Jackson lives that might have seen him going away in an ambulance and just went and updated his Wikipedia page. But they rolled back that changes, and oftentimes when somebody dies, they lock it down. There was a case of a jazz bass player who won the Best New Artist Award, a Grammy Award one year. Her name is Esperanza Spalding. I really like her. I was watching the Grammys because I was hoping she would win because I really like her music. And she beat Justin Bieber was the other singer who was up for Best New Artist. And all the Justin Bieber fans, after he lost, got on her Wikipedia page and just wrecked it. They vandalized it. So they had to lock down her page too. So that didn't happen. There was one, the owner of Wikipedia and a politician actually did a bunch of news spots one time because there were two people outside their work smoking cigarettes on break, arguing politics. Okay. And one guy said to the other guy about this candidate, oh, he's a Nazi, accusing him of being a Nazi. So he's not a Nazi, and they argued about it. So the first guy ran upstairs and changed that guy's Wikipedia page to say that he was a member of the Nazi Party to prove himself right. And then he sent the link to his friend and said, see, I told you he's a Nazi because Wikipedia says he's a Nazi. Well, it stayed like that for months and nobody noticed. Until somebody told the politician, hey, do you realize that your Wikipedia page says that you're a member of the Nazi Party? It made the press. Okay. And all the news stations ran the story. So the owner of Wikipedia and this politician went around to talk about Wikipedia and how anybody can edit it and how sometimes it is wrong and it can be wrong. And they do ask people to cite their sources. So when you look at a page like this on Wikipedia, if you see like this here, it says films in which he has appeared have grossed over $6 billion worldwide. And it's got this little 6 right here. That is a link to the source that was used for that information. Okay. I do a class called Media Literacy and Misinformation, where we talk a lot about misinformation that's out on the internet. Okay. Just because it has a source doesn't necessarily mean it's right either. Sometimes you have to do a little digging. But you know who's really good at doing that kind of digging? Reference librarians. Your library is a tremendously good source when it comes to looking that information up. If you need more sources, if you want to, need good information, that's what our reference librarians are educated to do. I am not a librarian. I'm a computer guy. And I've learned a lot over the years from librarians. They are required to have master's degrees in library science, and they are required to be licensed by the state and get regular continuing education. Okay, so a librarian is a tremendous resource, and it's free. It's your library. Okay, so you can, okay, and browsers up at the top right here, they have this little 3-dot menu. Can you see that menu? You cannot see that menu. Please bear with me. I am trying to share entire window here. Oh, I'm now in Infinity. Okay, I apologize. Do you know what an Infinity window is? This is an Infinity window. Okay. So, you ever been in an elevator with 2 mirrors on either side and the reflections look like it's going to infinity? That's basically what that video is. It's a video of me and a video of me goes on for infinity. What I'm trying to do, I apologize, I'm trying to share my entire window on the screen. There we go. There we go. Okay, good, good, good. Try this again. Well, I'm going to have to mess with that with the break. Because when I click on the menu on my computer, my menu drops down here and you don't see it. And I apologize for that. I'm not sure why it's not working. But basically, there is a zoom in and zoom out feature that can also be done with a shortcut key on the computer. The control key on the keyboard and the plus and minus buttons will make web pages bigger and smaller. If you need help reading a web page, if you hold down the control key and hit plus, see what it does? It just makes it bigger and bigger and bigger. If I hit the minus sign, it'll make it smaller. You can fit more on a page. So control plus and control minus. Oh, and it looks like you have a zoom button up here too. It'll do the same thing. So let's go back to Google and our search results for Jackie Chan. So when you see a search result, when you go to a website that's a search engine like Google and you type in Jackie Chan and you get a list of search results like this, it'll tell you the name of the website that it found Jackie Chan's name on, and it'll give you a little preview of what's on the site. So this is a Wikipedia page, and on the online encyclopedia entry for Jackie Chan. If I scroll down, I also have an IMDb page. IMDb is an interesting website called the Internet Movie Database. Okay. The Internet Movie Database, let's take a look at that. The Internet Movie Database is a lot of fun because you can look at all the different movies that Jackie Chan is in, like Rush Hour 2, but then you'll also see all the other actors that are in Rush Hour 2, like Chris Tucker. And then what you can do, if you click on Chris Tucker's name, it'll show you all of the movies that Chris Tucker's been in. So you can really fall down a rabbit hole on Internet Movie Database page, finding different actors. What's fun about the Internet Movie Database is you ever watch a movie on TV and you see somebody and you go, I know that actor from something else, but you can't place them where? Well, you can type the movie into Internet Movie Database and you can find that actor. And then when you find the actor and you click on that actor's name, like Chris Tucker, for example, now it'll show you all the movies that Chris Tucker's been in. Rush Hour, Rush Hour 2. He's in an upcoming, Air was from 2023. Oh, he's got 2 upcoming movies. Last Friday. Chris Tucker's coming back to the Friday movie franchise? Huh. That's interesting. He was in the first one, and then he skipped out of the next 2. Okay, well, that'll be fun. No, he was in the mid-90s. He was in a movie called Friday that was like they kind of described it as like a black Cheech and Chong movie. They were all smoking weed, and it was a funny movie. It was a good movie, but then he became famous. Then Chris Tucker did a bunch of other movies. So then when Ice Cube went to do the second one and the third one, he wasn't in them, I guess. But I guess he's coming back. Okay, that's pretty interesting. So Internet Movie Data, and what I'm doing is I'm going up here and hitting the back button. I'm just trying to get back to my Google search results. So you see how you can click into web pages and then use the back button to get back to where you were, right? Okay, so that was pretty fun. Jackie Chan's and then the third website down is Jackie Chan's official website. Okay. Why did the web pages appear in that order? Well, we don't know why. Okay. This is Google, and Google doesn't tell you. It's called a page rank. Okay. And it's one of the reasons that Google became as popular as it is today, is because I was in the computer industry back in the 90s when the internet first started coming online for all of us. And people would tell me all the time, the internet's great, but I can't find anything. It's really hard. There's so many web pages out there because people would go to a search engine like Google or Yahoo, or back then you had Earthlink and Alta Vista and all these other search websites, but they didn't give you a good order of the websites, right? Sometimes you'd get 10,000 results and you'd have to dig through a lot of results to find what you were looking for. It was kind of maddening, okay? And then Google started doing what they call the page ranking system, okay? And what that did was it gave some sites a better score to be higher up on the list. And they don't tell people how they do it because they don't want anybody gaming the system, right? Because everybody wants to be on the top of Google, right? If you own a business like lawn cutting service, if you're the first Google link, that's huge, right? And there's even companies that will just click on your website. You can hire like a company in China with 1,000 people in a room that'll just click on your website to open it up to give you a good page rank, you know, to make your results higher in the list. But nobody really knows how. Google doesn't tell you exactly, but they tell you, they give you some hints. So basically what Google is doing is if you do a Google search for Jackie Chan and you click on a website and spend time on that website, it probably makes that website a little bit more important in the list. If a lot of other websites link to that website, it'll probably pull it up a little higher in the list, okay? If the website is kind of not made well and spammy or junky, it kind of lowers it on the list. So there's lots of things that'll make that web page go up and down. So when people look for Jackie Chan on Google, it looks like probably the majority of the people go to the Wikipedia page first. And then the Internet Movie Database page second, and then his official website third. Okay. There's probably other people that you can search for where their personal website would be first, and maybe Wikipedia or their Facebook page would be second or third down the list. Okay. And that brings me to people ask me all the time, is Google using my information? Yes, they are. For one thing, to make this page rank work. Okay. If you open Google and you click on a page, it kind of gives it a vote for that page. That is using information from you to Google to make that work. Okay. Google doesn't know who you are. They just know that you're a computer user and that you clicked on it. They know roughly where in the world you are. Okay. In our last class, we talked about the introduction to the internet. We talked about an IP address, which is a very unique number that your computer gets when you use the internet. That's how the internet can identify you uniquely on the internet. They give you a little internet protocol. It's called an IP address. You don't see it. You don't need to know what it is. But it is a number that's going to uniquely identify you on the internet. Okay. That information, that IP address, you can kind of glean where it's from. So when I clicked on that Jackie Chan Wikipedia page, Google knew I was in East Chicago. And they probably knew who my internet service provider is, but they don't know who I am. Even if you have a Google account and you sign up for a Gmail address and you're using Google, they still really don't know who you are. Because when you sign up for a Gmail address, most of us put in our real name, but you don't have to. I could sign up for an email address with Google and sign up as Donald Trump, right? They don't police that, you know? So they don't really know who you are, okay? They know you're an internet user. They know roughly where in the world you are. If you ever go to a website and you see ads at the bottom of the website that say, new rule in East Chicago, and you think, it's not really a new rule in East Chicago. It's looking at your IP address and it's adding the location to the ad, okay, to try and entice you to click on that advertisement. New rule in Indiana, you'll see that a lot too. Somebody in Illinois on the same website is seeing that same advertisement that says new rule in Illinois. right? Or New Rule in Batavia or wherever they are, right? And they call that clickbait. Okay, advertisements try to design themselves to interest you to click on it, right? Next week, we talk about safety and security on the internet. We talk a little bit more about advertisements, how that information gets used and stuff like that. But when people ask, is Google using my information? Yes, they are. Oftentimes they don't know who you are. They don't know who you are. Okay. And a lot of times it really does make the experience better. Okay. Some of this information that gets shared, like page ranks, makes it work better. Right. And then in the 90s, when Google started doing this, people really flocked to Google and used it a lot because it was a lot easier to find stuff. The most important websites rose to the top of the list, and it was a lot quicker and easier to find what you were looking for on the internet. And that's when Google branched out to be not just a search engine, okay, but now they offer email. They offer cloud computing programs like Google Sheets and Google Docs, where you can type a letter like Microsoft Word right on a web page, okay? Or create a spreadsheet. You don't have to buy Microsoft Office. You can use it for free. It comes with your Google account. Okay. Yeah. Right. So DuckDuckGo became popular because people were paranoid about their information being used. But I'd be interested in looking into DuckDuckGo a little bit because DuckDuckGo is a search engine that's probably not tracking. Probably not. We don't even know. They could just tell you they're not tracking you and track you anyway. But I don't know if they block cookies from other websites. They may or may not. I'm not really sure. Do you know, Sam? You familiar with DuckDuckGo at all?
Sparingly.
Do they allow third-party cookies? I imagine they would have to.
I would, but I also know that it's the browser used for privacy.
Yeah.
So I actually want to lean towards
maybe not. So we're using right now. We're using Microsoft Edge browser, and I'm going to show you a Google Chrome browser here in a minute. That is a browser made by Google, and that some people get confused because they're like, "Oh, I thought Google was a web page." It is a web page, and originally that's all it was. But now they also make their own browser called Google Chrome. Okay. And you can use either browser you want. They both basically do about the same things nowadays. Back when Internet Explorer was still around and kind of clunky and not working really well, Google came out with their own browser because they needed more stability with some of the things they were working with. So, but both of those browsers have an incognito mode that you can turn on. And if you go to the 3-dot menu up at the top, which I apologize, you cannot see, and I'm going to fix that at the break, but I'll show you what it looks like. Oh, maybe this will work. Maybe this will work, or maybe this will make another infinite. Okay. Let's see if you can see the menu. Yay. Okay, good. We can see the menu. Okay, I apologize for that. All right, so this little 3-dot menu up in the top right, when you click on this, this is where you can zoom, I was talking about earlier, but you also have this here. You can say, create me a new in private window. Okay. And what an in private window, it'll open this page. So this is basically what DuckDuckGo's browser does. It operates in private. So in private browsing, it deletes your browsing info when you close all of the windows. It prevents Microsoft Bing searches from being associated with you. Okay, so remember I said in Google, when you do a search and you click on a web page, it kind of uses that information to make that better. Well, if you're in private, it won't use that information. Okay. People don't like being advertised to using things they recently searched for. So if you've ever gone to a search engine and searched for shoes, and then you're looking at other websites later and you see advertisements for shoes on that web page, well, when you did a search on Google for shoes, Google put a little cookie on your computer, which cookies are safe. They're only text that says you searched for shoes recently. Okay. So other websites, when you go to them, they'll look for cookies on the computer to see if there's anything that you searched for recently that might give you relevant advertisements. But here's the thing. If you didn't have cookies, if you were using DuckDuckGo as a browser or using an in-private browsing mode on your browser, and it doesn't leave those cookies, you're still going to see advertisements on those websites. They're just not going to be tailored to you. You're going to still see advertisements. They're just not going to know what you searched for recently. So, see, the thing is these websites cost money to make and to maintain. And they kind of went with an advertising model like TV, right? TV used to be free, but you'd have to watch commercials, right? Nowadays, you have cable, which they sold to us as no commercials, but now it's almost all commercials anyway. But that's how websites kind of work. And in the early days, the advertising was pretty bad. It's still pretty bad. But they get more money if they can target an ad to you. They get more money from the people buying advertising. They can say, we can get your advertisement in front of somebody who just recently searched for shoes. So if you're a shoe salesman and you have a website promoting shoes, that's worth good money to you. It's worth a lot more money than if you just had your shoe advertisement on a web page that you're paying for that you don't know if they want shoes or not. If you can get it in front of somebody's face that you know they're looking for shoes, that's worth a lot of money to you. So the advertisers pay a little bit more money for those targeted ads. And those cookies, okay, those is what holds that information. But it also, those cookies hold other information. Like, remember we went to CNN the first time and it said, please agree to this? Well, put a little cookie on your computer saying, well, don't ask them to agree to this again, right? You can clear your cookies out and your history out of your browser, but then that website's probably going to ask you that question again. Matter of fact, let's do that. See what that looks like. Oh, yeah. You see my wallpaper. So if you click on this little three-dot menu, I'm going to come down here to my settings. Oh, actually, you know what? There was right in here. See this delete browsing data? You go to the menu and choose delete browsing data. It'll say, okay, well, so these are all the things that your browser is kind of storing when you go to websites. It'll store your browsing history, which is just a list of all the web pages you've been at. I don't ever delete that because I find it very useful. It's not hurting anything. It's just a list of the places you've been, right? But you can delete that history. If you're on a computer at work and you go to some websites you shouldn't have been on at work, you might want to delete your browsing history, okay? Your download history. If you download files, you can delete that history. Cookies and other site data you can delete. And something called cached images and files. Now, cached images and files, that makes websites work quicker. The first time you go to a website, there's a lot of graphics and text on these websites, right? And it's got to download all of that to your browser from the internet so you can see it kind of rendered in your browser. Well, it keeps a local copy of those images. So if you go to that website again, it'll use what's on your local cache before it brings it in from the internet because it'll be faster. So if you just keep your cached images and files on your computer, websites will act, they'll be more responsive and they'll act better, basically. It's not a problem to delete it though. You can always go in there and delete your cache. They used to tell you in the old days, oh, always delete your cookies in your history. It's not necessary. But you may want to. There may be times you want to, like going to web pages that you shouldn't have been to at work. Or sometimes websites don't work right and they'll tell you, clean out your cache. Maybe that's doing it. So I'm going to clear all of this from the last 24 hours. So now I wonder if I go to CNN.com, it's going to ask me that question again. Yeah, look at that. Asked me to agree to that legal terms of privacy again because I deleted the cookie. That said, I already said I agree. Okay. Okay, back to a search engine. I want you to take a look at this top row here. When you do a search on a search engine, it gives you a list of websites for the keywords that you're looking for. But sometimes it's not websites you're after. Sometimes it's news you're after, or just images. If I wanted to just look for images on the internet for Jackie Chan, they give you a link up at the top right here called images. And when I click on that, it'll say, okay, well, these are all the images of Jackie Chan we found on the internet, not list of websites. Sometimes I'm looking for current news about a person. Well, there's a news link up here that will show you website results that are very recent news, right? So David Beckham joins Jackie Chan at a preseason NBA basketball game in China 3 hours ago. Jackie Chan to film new Armor of God sequel in Kazakhstan 2 days ago. So this is just a list of most recent news. So a search engine nowadays is a real powerful tool, okay? If you don't know the name of the website you're going to, for example, CNN. What if you were in college going to school for marketing or communications, and they asked you to do a report on the first ever 24-hour news channel, CNN. Well, you wouldn't go to CNN.com. That's not going to tell you any information about, it's just going to give you today's news, right? But you need to write a report on the business CNN. Well, that's where a Google search would come in handy, because instead of going to CNN.com, go to Google and just type in CNN, and it's going to give you a list of results. Well, the very first link is, well, did you need the news? Well, I'm not looking for the news. They have their own Instagram page, which is social networking. They have their own Facebook page. And look at this. Here's the Wikipedia page for CNN. This isn't news. This is information about the cable news network, CNN, an American multinational news media company, a division of Warner Brothers, founded in 1980 or 1990. 80. Yeah, 80. Wow, it's older than I thought. CNN has been around since 1980. Cable TV hasn't been around that long, has it? I remember cable TV in 1980.
In Hammond when it came in this area, and that was one of the first areas that came in.
Yeah.
I got it in 1980. Yeah, before my son was born. So yeah, it's been here about since 1980.
Okay, yeah, my grandparents got it in Cal City, but it was probably a couple years after that, maybe. Yeah, I was only 10. What do I know? Okay. So tabbed browsing. If you want to open more than one website at a time, In the early days, you'd have to open your browser, go to the website, and then open the browser again. So you'd have the browser running kind of twice to open another web page. And a lot of people would do that. If you worked a lot on the internet doing research, you could sometimes have 2 or 3 or even 4 browsers open all at the same time. But it was a little hard to manage. So modern browsers now have what they call tabbed browsing. You can open up more than one web page in the browser itself, in one browser, and there's tabs across the top that allow you to look at the other website. So if you look up at the top here, I have got 2 tabs open right now. You look up at the top, I have the Wikipedia page with CNN, and on this tab here is actually CNN, and I can click back and forth. If I click on this tab, it opens up CNN, and if I click on this tab, it'll open up Wikipedia. Okay. If I want to add another tab, a third window, I can click on this little plus button here, and that'll open up a new tab. And now I can type in Google. I'll go to Google. Now I have 3 websites open in one browser. And if you look up at the top, I have Google. If I click on this one, it's CNN. And if I click on this one, it's the Wikipedia page of CNN. So this is what tabbed browsing is. Okay. If you want to close one of these tabs, like if I wanted to keep the Wikipedia page open and the Google page open, each tab has a little X here. And any tab, I can close it just by clicking the X. So I can close actual CNN by clicking on that X, click, and it still keeps Google open, and it still keeps CNN open, but now I only have 2 tabs open. Okay. You've also got in your browser, you've got something called a refresh page. See this little X? That X is telling you to stop loading the web page. But once the web page is completely loaded into the browser, then it looks like a little circle. That little circle is called refresh. That means go back to the computer you got this information from on the internet and refresh it. Make sure it's the most up-to-date information. So if I open up this CNN web page and I walk away from my computer for a day, and I come back the next day and this CNN web page is still open, the news is going to be a day old, right? Because I opened it yesterday and I walked away. That's when you'd want to go up and say refresh. You'd want to say, you know what? Go out and get the most up-to-date information, because websites like CNN, they change. News websites, they can change every minute. You're going to have new information up here. So coming up here to this refresh button and clicking refresh just goes back out and pulls the most recent version. I pulled an old laptop out of a closet that I hadn't ran in years. And when I opened up the browser, I wasn't connected to the internet, and it pulled up a CNN page from like 8 years earlier. It looked completely different. It was like a time capsule, right? It was like, oh, wow, that's what CNN's website used to look like. And then this old laptop, I connected to the internet and I hit refresh, and the whole page just changed completely from the old 8-year-old web page. It was still
I've seen some.
Yeah. Yeah, weather pages. If you're looking at a weather map, they'll put a little notice up there saying, hey, you hit refresh because this is out of date now. They don't want you to look at like a weather radar that's old and think that something's going to happen that's not. So they'll pop up a little message saying, hey, hit refresh. And that's what they mean. Go up and hit this little thing. Some websites advertise to you loudly. Weather.com is one of them. I stopped using weather.com because every time I'd open the page, these advertisements would just start talking to me and making noise. It's just like, I just came to look at a weather map. And let's look at the radar. But you can mute just one web page. And if you go up to the top of your tab here and you click with the right mouse button, most everything we do on a mouse is a left button with our index finger. The middle finger opens a right mouse button, and that right mouse button only does one thing. It gives you a little menu. The only thing the right mouse button does. Gives you a menu that's unique to where you click. We talk about that in the intro to computer class when we start using mice. But if I right click on a tab, it gives me options for that tab, very specific menu. It's the only thing the right mouse button does, gives you a little menu. And I can do things like duplicate this tab, refresh this tab, mute the tab. And when I mute the tab, that means that this web page, if it is making any noise, it's muted and I won't hear it. Just this page. CNN or Google can still make noise, but the Weather Channel will not. So when you right click, see now it says unmute. Okay. If you are using a web page and it's making noise and you don't want it to make noise, but you want to keep the web page open, So let's look at our history. Here in this menu, I can go to history. And it's showing me this is old, September 16th. So, okay, I did a Jackie Chan search at 157. Weather, breaking news. Up at the top in our address bar up here, see this little star? That is called a favorites or a bookmark. If there's a web page that you go to a lot, you can bookmark it so you don't have to type it in every time. Okay. And Microsoft's browser, they call it a favorite. In other browsers, they'll call it a bookmark, but they're the same thing, just a different name. And when you click on this little star here, it'll say, okay, well, we're going to add this as a favorite. And where do you want to move it? You can put it in folders. But you can also put it on what's called a favorites bar. So I have some folders, bookmark folders on this. But if I choose favorites bar, and I'll show you what that looks like. I think I have to turn my favorites bar on. If I go to my menu and go down here to favorites. How do I turn my favorites bar on? Show favorites bar. So these are favorites that you can add to your favorites bar. MSNBC Now. So now I don't have to type in MSNBC or YouTube Music. I can just simply click right on this button in this favorites bar here. And these are folders. So I have a news folder where I keep links to the news pages I like to read. Here's social networking. I have a folder for social networking with Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest and stuff. But you do that by this little star. Okay. If you have a Google account, or a Microsoft account, you can sign into your browser and it will allow you to synchronize your settings between browsers on different computers. Why would I want to do that? If I use a Chrome browser at home and a Chrome browser at work, well, if I add bookmarks or if I have history I'm looking for, sometimes I'll have to think, well, wait a minute, did I bookmark that web page when I was on my browser at home? Or did I bookmark that web page when I was sitting at my browser at my desk at work? Okay. You can sign into your browser and synchronize the settings if you're signed into both. So if you're signed into your browser at home and signed into your browser at work, if you add a bookmark at work, you'll see it in your browser at home. If you open a web page at home and you come to work, you'll see it in your history at work. It keeps all those settings synchronized between the two. And I'll show you what that looks like. I'm going to close this. This is Microsoft's browser. I'm going to open Google Chrome. Oh, on the wrong window. Yeah. And you do that right here. So this little 3-dot menu, this is where you can get to the settings of your browser. But right to the left of this 3-dot menu is where you can sign into your browser and synchronize your stuff. So right now, I'm signed in, and my synchronization is on. And I'm syncing to my personal Gmail account. So all of these bookmarks and my history are being synced between both computers at home. And my phone too. So I have more than one computer at home. I have a phone and I use a computer here at my desk. That's like 4 computers that I touch. I'm a computer guy. That's normal, I guess, for a computer guy. But not everybody has 4 things. But I'm signed into my Chrome browser on all of them, so they all synchronize. But when you're signed in to your browser, you can also do things like have your browser save your passwords for you. So when you repeatedly go to a website, it'll just fill it in automatically. I'll show you what that looks like. Let me go to ChatGPT. Log in. So when I click login, see what it does? This is my browser recommending I use this username and password. But when I do that, it says, no. Give me your PIN to make sure it's you. The PIN that I use to get into this computer. And then what it does is it automatically will put in my login information. It'll keep it secret. But see, my browser saved that information. You need to be signed into your browser for it to save those passwords. What's also nice about that is sometimes you need to look to see what those passwords could be. And in this menu, there's a password manager in your browser. So you come up here and you go to settings. Oh, it's right here, passwords and autofill. You can look at Google's password manager and it lists all the websites. So, okay, so AARP. If I hit this little eyeball right here, it'll show you my AARP password. Not going to hit this. I don't want you to see my password. Because I'm also recording this for the internet, so I'd show everybody in the world my password if I showed you that. But the little password manager, which is built inside your browser, is real handy because over time, it'll ask you up at the top, hey, do you want Google to save this password so the next time you come? It's secure. If you notice, it had me enter my PIN before it would show me my password. You've also got something called autofill. And that is pretty handy too. Passwords and autofill. So Let me go to addresses and more. Okay. So now everybody on the internet's going to see where I live. Okay. You know, when you go to Amazon and it asks you to put in your credit card number and put in your address and type all that information in, if you're signed into your browser, you can save that information so you don't have to type it all in. It'll see those fields and it'll know to put your address and your zip code and your phone number and your email all into the right place. And in your browser, you can go and you can make edits. As a matter of fact, there was one of these saved in my browser that I think was mistyped. See, at one point I typed in 6505 Evergreen Ave, and another time I typed in Evergreen Avenue, and it saved them both. And that is in Portage. And one of these I misspelled Portage. I just switched around the T and the A, and I just accidentally mistyped it. So what was happening is I would choose autofill to fill it all in. If I chose the wrong one, it would say, where is Portage? And oh, I misspelled Portage. So I had to come in here to my addresses and I had to edit this and I had to change it to the right spelling so I wouldn't do that anymore. Okay. If you click on this little 3-dot menu here, here's your history, here's your passwords and your autofill. Also, you can set up payment methods. You can't see your credit card numbers, but it'll show you just the last 4 digits. And this is pretty handy too. If you're doing online shopping and it asks you to put in a credit card, your browser can put that in there for you. And this is where you can manage them because they'll expire and you'll have to clean out the ones that are expired. But that is pretty handy. Okay, so I'm going to close some of these tabs. I bank online. I do. Do you? Yeah. Next week, when we talk about safety and security on the internet, we're going to talk about online banking and online shopping because it's safe and it's really convenient. And when I know a lot of people who are afraid to do that because they don't understand what information is out there and what can be gleaned. But hopefully the class next week will give you some good information to know what is safe and what is not safe. The majority of the credit cards that get stolen and that are out there in the wild are not because people are shopping online. They're because you're swiping your cards in the store. And if you go to Target, you swipe your credit card at Target, well, they keep that credit card number on file in a big computer at Target's headquarters in Minnesota. If a hacker is looking for credit card numbers, they're not going to target you because, well, it's only one credit card number and they don't know how much money you got, right? If they stole my credit card number, they're going to be not that happy. I don't have that, you know. But if they can break into the computer at Target, they're going to get 1 million credit card numbers, right? And then they can just try one after the other, one after the other. So the majority of the credit cards out there in the wild are not because people are shopping online. And most security experts say that your credit card number is probably out there anyway in the wild. It might expire before anybody gets around to trying to use it illegally. But it's just part of life, really. When you do get a charge on your credit card that's not yours, you're not out the money. It's an inconvenience. You have to call the credit card company and say it's fraud, and they take it off your card. So if you had to pay for every fraudulent credit card charge, nobody would use credit cards. The credit card companies know this. So, and we talk about that next week. And there are some things that your social security number gets out. And if somebody went and took out a loan in your name, that's serious because that can be really hard to repair. But a fraudulent credit card charge happens to everybody, happens all the time. It's just part of modern life, really.
Has that happened before at Target where people, credit card was taken?
Target, I don't know, but I know a lot of other companies that have. And what?
For instance,
If you get an example? Okay, well, here's a really good example. Equifax got hacked. Okay, now if Target got hacked, they would hopefully send you a message saying, "Hey, our systems were hacked, and your information might be compromised." And what they'll do is oftentimes they'll offer you like free credit monitoring for a year, that you can sign up for. If you ever get one of those notices, sign up for the free credit monitoring. It's pretty handy. I don't know if Target has been hacked. I was using them as an example, so I don't want to say they have or haven't. But Equifax, which is a company that manages credit reports, if you go to get your credit checked to buy a house or to get a car note, they check the big major credit companies, Equifax, TransUnion, and there's another one. Yeah. Well, Equifax got hacked. And social security numbers and credit card numbers and all sorts of information got stolen from them. But what's interesting about Equifax is if Target were to be hacked, or Radio Shack doesn't exist anymore. That's probably a better example. If you were a customer of Radio Shack and Radio Shack got hacked, well, you were a customer of theirs, and that's why they had your information. I am not a customer of Equifax, right? I have no business relationship with Equifax whatsoever, but they have my credit card number, all of my credit card numbers. They have my social security number. They know all this information about me, and I have no business relationship with them at all. So when they got hacked, it was a big deal because they had to tell everybody in the world, "Hey, we got hacked and your information might be out there." And they offered me free credit monitoring, and they even had a class action lawsuit. I got sued for it. And I put in for the class action lawsuit. I think I got $7 or something crazy. Class action lawsuits pay the lawyers big money, and then we all get a trickle of pennies at the end. But that does happen. And unfortunately, there are some companies out there that it happens to, and they don't tell people.
they do have the card.
They do track information based on credit card numbers and use, I know. But have they ever been hacked? I don't know. So I would say it's still safe to go shop at Target. I probably shouldn't use them as an example of being hacked when I don't know if they've been hacked. Right. I'll use Radio Shack. They don't exist anymore. No one's going to come after me for Radio Shack, right? Okay. Let's take a break, have some coffee and some water. Let's take a little 10, 15-minute break, and then we'll come back and finish up the last 30 minutes. And we'll talk about signing into the browser. Okay.
I love, that lady out, we talked about it.
No, I got that.
Yeah. No. I think that. Again. Where'd you go? Now we do the okay. But you would know tomorrow, right? I can't say her name. Yeah, and so that wasn't it. I know that. Oh, that's not, I thought it was, there's a wow. Oh, okay. This is the song. I'm gonna put my earphones on. I mean, organic.
Oh, organic.
Organic.
You know, she was also an actress. She was in Godfather.
Oh, you're right, I remember them saying that.
She married the mother of the boys.
That's right.
She was married to, Marlon Brando.
Was she married her?
No, I mean the character.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Corleone.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Marlon Wishes. Marlon Wishes.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah,
She
I
had
like
a
her voice.
voice.
She had a beautiful voice.
She had a range like the,
Yes.
she's real high, she had a wide,
I know who she is.
okay. Okay, yeah, okay, but
I couldn't think of that.
she asked me, here we go, and the name popped into my head.
Oh, really?
That, I couldn't remember. She asked.
From Organic King, yes.
Because I'm looking for fireplace. Yeah, it was a quiet thing, so, yeah. Yeah,
And what's the name of the song?
It's a quiet thing.
Oh, my thing.
Quiet.
Oh.
Yeah. She goes, what's that real popular singer she sings, but she has a very high octave and low, she can have a very large thing.
Sade?
No,
Rita.
she's biracial, I think.
King?
Sorry, Keys.
Yeah.
Alicia Keys. No, her name starts with the M.
Mariah Carey.
Oh, that's
Oh,
it.
yeah, she's,
Uh-huh.
she is like.
Yeah, and years ago, the woman that I remember, she used to say, it's a butterfly, loving you is like a butterfly, or something like that. She had a range. She had a very breast cancer. She had a high octave too.
Yes,
Can't
she
say
had the
that.
highest of everybody.
Yeah, I think.
I can't think of her name.
Yeah. I still think love is
Yes.
you.
It was Minnie Ripley.
That's
Right.
it.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know, she got a daughter and she's acting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just saw her this morning on the view.
Rudolph.
And I didn't
Maya,
want to.
that's
but
it,
I
Maya
was
Rudolph.
on
Maya.
Maya. In fact, my sister.
I love
this
it.
is a FYI. She said, the
Oh.
song she sang, Maya. That's who she was speaking of back in the day.
Oh.
Singing it, you know.
Right.
But she was thinking about her.
Right.
Ain't no mountain high enough. With Marvin Gaye.
No, that was,
No, he doesn't have.
Diana
Tammy.
Ross. ain't it?
No, Tammy.
Oh,
Tammy
Tammy
Terrell.
Terrell.
Oh, that's
She also passed away.
Yeah.
She was
But
on-
nobody could beat Minnie Ripley, and I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the highest voice. Yeah. Whitney Houston. She had a good.
That lady had a voice.
She had a voice.
She had a voice.
She had a-
She did.
But
all of them had beautiful voice, right? But it was just, they just sang different ways, but all of them had beautiful voices. But Minnie Ripley in her octave, but I bet that nobody could beat her.
Go, yeah.
To go up that high,
No.
she had the highest voice to go up,
Yeah,
high
yeah.
pitched.
Yeah.
The other one next to it was, what was the name now? Oh, and I love this song, Butterfly. It's also Butterfly, but it's like, oh, and I used to remember.
Chaka Khan,
No.
she said
She's,
something about some butterflies.
Black Butterfly.
Oh, you mean the slow one?
Denise. Her
Denise
name is
Williams.
same as mine.
Denise
Oh,
Williams.
her name, yeah, Denise.
Oh,
Williams.
Niecy,
She
yes.
had a- she had a high.
She was in town for Michael Jackson.
I would imagine.
For the birthday.
Yeah, I was here.
Denise, yeah.
Yeah, that was the thing.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of those songs stay with us.
Yeah. Because when you mentioned Marvin Gaye and what woman you just mentioned,
Tammy?
I was a freshman in high school. I mean, in college. I remember it. Singing that.
And poor Marvin.
Oh.
His father killed him, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Father shot him.
But Marvin had a bad drug problem.
Yeah, that was a shot.
He probably shot her because he was laying up in bed with his mother.
Yeah.
Really? Is that what you heard?
No, I was young when it came out, when it happened.
Well, he threatened his father
Probably something like that.
out of order.
Yeah,
Disrespected him and threatened him, and he killed.
He was living at home, he was basically homeless. For me at that time.
He wasn't homeless, he just had a drug problem. Yes, you can. But you know what, a lot of those things back during that time, in order to deal with a lot of they add on that in order take them, relax them and take them away from that environment, but only thing it did. When you start using that stuff, you gotta body can adjust to it, you have to fix your dosage. That's
And you know, dad is a minister.
a.
So, from what I understand, I saw the story that dad has always been very jealous.
I'm probably was.
I've heard
He didn't
that
want him to
before.
go,
And I think this
he didn't
time-
want him to get into that type of music, He wanted him to stay in church. Of gospel music, yeah.
Singer came from that.
It's somebody, everybody talk about it. But he had to
I
realize.
think even
that
Luther
tomorrow,
Luther Vandross
I would put
was a big gospel
that
music.
in.
So was,
Yeah.
Whitney Houston, she was
Yes.
gospel. Aretha
All
Franklin,
of them, churches.
Yeah, all of them. Mhm. And they all got a lot of grief. Hmm. Yeah, I remember reading stories about Aretha and a lot of grief.
So that's where she started off at,
Ray Charles got grief.
yeah.
Okay. So, let's talk a little bit more about Google. We used it as a search engine, but the browser, Google Chrome, is free. And if you don't have it, you can just do a Google search for Chrome download. And you'll get a search result right away that you can download the Chrome browser and install it. It's not a bad idea to have more than one browser installed on your computer or phone. Your phones come with a browser, but you might not have Chrome. You might have just something that says Internet.
Mine says Google Chrome.
Yeah, I have Chrome on my phone too, and that's from an app store. You'd go to get Chrome.
If you don't have an iPhone.
That right, but you can download Chrome on an iPhone too. So the browser that comes with an iPhone is called Safari. Right. So, huh? Oh, it might have come with the phone. It might have came pre-installed with the phone. Like the Google phones that run an Android operating system probably have Chrome already built in. Yeah. An iPhone comes with Safari as their browser. It's a perfectly fine browser, but you can also download Chrome too.
So what's the difference between Chrome and Safari?
It's like driving a Ford or a Chevy. It's not a whole lot different. It's a different brand, you know. The reason it's not a bad idea to have more than one browser on your computer is sometimes not every website will work. It's rare, but especially like state websites. I found this more like state of Indiana websites, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles and stuff like that. You know, I don't think they put a lot of money into designing the websites and testing them with all these different browsers. So sometimes you'll go to a web page and you'll see it'll say, oh, this is best viewed using an Microsoft Edge browser, you know, or this is best if you use Chrome browser. Sometimes it'll work. So when people come into the lab, sometimes they'll call me out there and they'll say, this website just isn't working right. When I go to click on this drop down list on the website or something, it's just not right. So the first thing we do is we tell them, well, try it in a different browser and see if that fixes the problem. So if they're using Edge, they'll go to Chrome. And then oftentimes that fixes the problem. So the nice thing about a Chrome browser is I have a Gmail account and I have a Google phone, right? And they kind of all work together well. Apple's the same way. If you have an Apple computer, you're probably going to want an iPhone because they work well together. They're kind of, and they call it their own ecosystem, right? You know, they're kind of built the same. They're kind of built to work the same. And the browser, the Safari browser, you can save bookmarks. You can go back and hit refresh. They all basically do the same thing nowadays. It's a matter of preference. When Chrome came out, Internet Explorer was just garbage. It was not doing well. But since then, they changed the name to Edge. They put a lot of more work into it because they lost a lot of customers when people moved over to Google Chrome, when Google came out with their own browser. But it's a perfectly fine browser too. And even their search engine, Bing, it's a fine search engine. I find the advertising to be, so let's just do a Jackie Chan search on Google, and we'll do a Jackie Chan search on Bing and see. Well, the first thing I noticed that I like a lot about this Google search is I'm not seeing a lot of advertisements in my list of results. Sometimes you will. Like if I were to search for like maybe software download, like AVG antivirus. Okay, so when I do a search, see how the very first search result says sponsored right here? Google is very good at labeling it sponsored if it's an advertised result. When we go down a little bit more, see, it's sponsored. AVG.com is probably, if I just do a search for antivirus and not a specific one, it gives me an AI overview. That's kind of new. But also, look at, we have sponsored. These are sponsored results up here. PC Mag, this is sponsored. This is sponsored. Look at, these are all paid advertisements to show up in a Google search for antivirus. And Google goes out of its way to label them as sponsored so you don't think they're at the top of the list. Somebody paid for that to be at the top of the list. PC Magazine and Reddit are the two first links that do not have sponsored results up at the top. So let's go over to the Bing search engine. I'm going to open a new tab up here, and I'm going to type in bing.com. And I'm going to do a Jackie Chan. Okay, so they suggest Jackie Robinson, Chan, and Gleason. Wow, Google didn't even suggest Jackie Gleason. Huh. Interesting. Okay, so the search results look kind of similar. It does a little Copilot search, gives you a little summary over here. List of his movies. And then look at news is first, explore more news. And now it starts giving you a list of results. So look at Jackie Chan's official web page isn't even on the first page of Bing's results. His IMDb pages and Britannica, Encyclopedia Britannica, but not Wikipedia. I wonder why that is. Images, biography host, and then yeah, fourth one down, Jackie Chan website. You had to go digging to get to his official website down here. Let's do a Bing search for antivirus. See how they advertise to us. Cyber news. Norton, yeah, well. Come see me in the help desk. And I do that with a lot of people in the help desk. You have an iPhone? Okay. Take a lot of pictures and videos? Yeah. That's interesting. Well, we'll have to take a closer look at the phone. But yeah, if you're having storage issues on your phone, come in to help desk. We do that a lot. But even the Bing results up at the top, the Bing search results up at the top, you'll see images. You can just do searches for images or news, like the same way that we did in Google. Yeah, and you don't really need antivirus like you used to in the old days. Microsoft computers come with an antivirus Microsoft has built in, and it does a fine job. Well, yeah, viruses used to be a big problem, but they've gotten a lot better at that.
Remember how software is a big thing for buying off? But what happened? I mean, they just went to apps, is that what they did?
Right. So they software, and in our basic computer class, we learn about all software. And software is kind of divided into either an operating system, which comes with the computer, or an app, which is short for application. And those are pieces of software that help you just do a specific task. So when you go to the App Store, you're downloading software. Yeah. Oh, they had shops in the mall. Yeah. 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 Now it's almost all just over the internet downloads. You don't see it. The CDs and DVDs are becoming obsolete. You know.
Like you said, like on your computer, the one that I got, laptop, it doesn't have
No drives.
no drives.
Right.
Everything is done on the internet.
Yeah. So, and we have some of these here at the library. It's rare that somebody comes in and needs to use a CD or DVD player, but they make little external ones that plug into a USB port, and they're cheap, $25, $30 for a little CD DVD player that you can just plug in to the USB.
I'm on to my other two laptops that do have it.
Yeah.
And in case if I want to play music or play movies and stuff like that, that I already have.
Yeah. But those will eventually go away, and then just invest in your cheap little USB one and keep it. And we have them at the library. So if you come into either library location to use the lab and you have a CD, DVD, if you ask them at the desk, they'll give you the little. We have some old card readers and some other things. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that Google does before we go, because Google has expanded to not just a search engine, but now they make a browser, and they make email. They make the software for all the phones except the iPhone. Apple makes their own software for the iPhones, but Google makes all the software for all these phones. So when you get one of these Google phones, it requires an online Google account, or just having a Gmail address is a Google account. And you get a lot of things with that Google account. On a computer, on the phone, it doesn't matter. So when you log into your Google account, you're going to see this little checkerboard up to the top right. It says Google Apps right here. And if you click on that, it'll show you all the apps, the online software that you can use in your Google account. You have Google Drive, which is online storage. That's a storage space that you can store any kind of file you want. And they want you to think of it like a flash drive, but on the internet. What's nice about storing files on the internet is, well, it's not on your computer. So anywhere in the world, you can get to a computer and log into your Google account. You can get to your storage on your drive. So if you want to use, if you're working on a computer file at home, and you want to come in and finish it here at the library, you can store it in your Google Drive, come here to the library, log into Google, and then you can get to it through your drive here. You've got an online calendar, which is really handy because all of these apps also work with the phone. And since they're online, if I add something to my Google Calendar on my computer, Well, I instantly see it on my phone. They're both looking at the same place. You got to remember that the internet, the information's not really on your computer. The information's on the internet. You're using your phone and your computer to look at it, right? So if I add an entry to my calendar, well, my phone will remind me later about that calendar entry, which is really handy. Google bought YouTube many years ago. So you also have your own YouTube channel if you want, free with your Google account. And YouTube is a very good website that anybody in the world can upload videos to. It's free with commercials. YouTube is free. They have a YouTube Premium subscription that you can get that makes it commercial free. But I mean, if you just use YouTube, I think every third or fourth video you'll see a little ad. They also have YouTube Music, which is you can buy premium with that. I think if you buy YouTube Premium, they'll give you a month for free to try it. And then it's $9.99 a month for videos, commercial free, but also you get the YouTube Music with that. And that is a $10 a month music subscription, commercial free, for any artist or album you can think of. It's all the music available out there just to play. Paying for YouTube? You're paying for YouTube. Well, YouTube also has YouTube TV now. We can look in your Google account and we can tell you, but you're not getting it on an Xfinity bill though, are you? On an Xfinity bill? Okay. Okay. You might be paying for the premium channel. Come in and help desk. We'll get to the bottom of that. Yeah. No, you shouldn't be seeing ads.
Cause YouTube, they have the YouTube TV too.
Yeah, and that's like I left Comcast and I went to YouTube TV. And it's like cable TV though. So what's nice is it's like live TV. It's expensive. But the nice thing about it is okay, so here's a trick I'm going to tell everybody in the internets too. They have a family plan. You can spend, well, you can, with YouTube TV, you can add like 2 other family members. So like me and my buddy Mike, we share the YouTube subscription. It's expensive, but it's based and it's legal to do. You're not stealing anything. So what it is like a $60 a month subscription for YouTube TV. It's expensive. It's like cable because you're getting 2, 5, and 7 streamed live. You got a DVR that you can record it and you can watch it on your phone or any computer, and these smart TVs have it built in. So you can get cable through YouTube TV. But what's nice about it is if you have a friend that you trust and you can split the cost, well, then you can sign them up as a family member, 2 other people. And then you all share the cost.
So this is like about $60 a month.
What's more than that?
Is it more than that now?
I think closer to 80.
It could be. I'm not sure what it is.
It used to be relatively moderately priced, but it's gone up over the years.
Yeah. Do you have it?
When I switched from cable to streaming, it was like $50.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, and then it would keep going up. Then I dropped it and went to Sling.
Okay. It's the same thing, but instead of getting your TV through the cable wire, you're getting it through the internet wire. So that's what they say. That's what they mean by streaming. It's actually coming over the internet instead of a dedicated wire run by the cable company out to your house.
It was an adjustment. Go from cable to streaming. Yeah. There's a
Yeah.
learning curve there.
There is. It's getting a lot better.
It's not the same.
It's not. It's a lot better now with the smart TVs.
Yeah.
I was an early adopter of that, but I'm a computer guy. If I can deal with it if it messes up. But I wouldn't, there was a long time I would not recommend people go to streaming for that very reason. If you're not savvy with computers, it can be messy. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. I have a point. And when I see the icons and stuff like that for my selection of what I want to go to, at the end of one row, there's a garbage can. I know for the garbage can, it's saying, because I know on my phone for the garbage can, you deleting or you crashing or whatever else there. Okay, is that also saying for any line of the icons, if I want to get rid of, I just go to that trash can and I just select whatever icons and then they replace that with something else?
Well, it would depend on the smart TV that you have. And we can, if you come into help desk, we can actually look at the model TV you have and I can show you how it works. But on my TV, I add apps to my TV, like you add apps on your phone.
Yeah, I can do that.
Right. So if you have Netflix,
Yeah.
you can add the Netflix. So when you turn on your smart TV, you can see Netflix and Hulu and
Right.
Disney
Yeah.
and ESPN. But then what happens if you cancel your Hulu account? Well, then you would still see the Hulu app on your TV,
Right.
but you wouldn't be subscribed anymore. So that's when you would want to just trash that Hulu app,
Oh, okay.
is what that's for. It's like, no, throw the Hulu app away because I don't subscribe to it anymore. But then later you can always add it back if you resubscribe because the TV is not really storing any information. The trash can's got to be just to remove the apps that you're not using anymore because it's designed for you to customize just for the apps you use. And you know, a lot of these apps have free
Yeah.
months, right? So you'll say, oh, there's a show on Paramount I want to watch, but it's one show. So you sign up for the free month and you watch that show and you cancel it. Then you got to remove the app.
Yeah,
know.
I just wanted to make sure because, these TVs don't come with the manuals like they used to. They used to have a manual.
Phones, yeah,
To give you an idea. At least
Yeah.
a start.
phones don't either. And that's where YouTube can help, going to YouTube and asking how to do that stuff. Yes, anytime it's software based like that,
Yeah.
they don't want to give you a printed manual because they call that information that's printed perishable, because you're going to get an update on your TV and then things are going to change a little bit and then that manual's not going to be accurate. So instead of having to deal with a bunch of people who have manuals at home that aren't accurate after the first update, they just don't give you a manual. They go, no, go online to look at how to do it because they keep that online manual up to date with the
I
updates.
had a friend who downloaded a manual when I first got my Android.
Mhm.
That manual was that thick. and she said she didn't know because it just stopped. She said print. She hit print, and it just started printing everything. So she cataloged everything for me and put it in there. And when I saw it, and then I opened it up, all the things and stuff that the Android could do, which I probably would never do half of. Use half of
And the first update, half of it was out of date.
it. Right.
Yeah, that's why you don't print that.
In the manual, why was so many pages? Don't have other languages.
That's, yeah, you're right. It could be. Yeah, I'm not sure what manual.
I
Yeah,
speak French.
Yeah.
Spanish.
yeah,
So we were lucky it was all.
yeah.
But that was years back.
Another thing that Google gives you, which is really handy, is they have sheets, docs and sheets, which is when we talked about cloud computing. So this is how you can create a spreadsheet like Microsoft Excel that is just a web page. If you look up here, this is just a website, Google Sheets. And this spreadsheet, they give this weird, long, unique number to identify the spreadsheet. But what's nice about using a spreadsheet on a web page like this is, well, for one, you can get to it anywhere in the world that you can get to a browser. I mean, I can start working on the spreadsheet at home, and just come to work, log into my Google account at work and finish working on it. And then I can get to it on my phone too, because it's just a Google spreadsheet. I can get to it anywhere in the world. The other nice thing about it is this spreadsheet would exist only in one place out on the internet. And in the old days, we would create a spreadsheet. If we wanted to share it with somebody, we would attach it to an email and send them a copy of it. But that creates other copies, right? So I would have, I was in a library where I did the newsletter, monthly newsletter for the library. And I would create the newsletter in Microsoft Word. And then I would send a copy to 4 different librarians for them to add information to the library newsletter. Well, when I did that, I created 4 more copies of that newsletter. Well, I have a copy, and now each librarian has their own copy. They make changes, and they send those changes back to me in an email. That's 4 more copies. Well, I got 9 copies, all different, of the same newsletter now. If I created that newsletter in Google Docs or a sheet like this, I can share it with them. I can hit the share button, and I can share this with, I got to name it, stock test. And now I can put in the name of an email address of somebody who I want them to either just view the spreadsheet, because when I choose somebody to share this with, it'll ask me, do you want them to be able to edit this spreadsheet or just view it, or do you want them to be able to comment on it? So then they will get emailed a link to the same spreadsheet, and if they start editing it, you will see them editing the same sheet. You're all looking at the same one, so there's no more duplicate copies made. You can invite collaborators to all look at the same spreadsheet or document in one place on the internet at one time, which is really handy. And also, you don't have to hit save all the time, because it'll save as it goes. And if somebody logs in and makes an edit to it that you don't like, you can look at past versions of the spreadsheet too. So with your Google account, you get a lot of different stuff online, and it works really well.
I know I'm kind of jumping the gun, but I know I went to, on my laptop, I was trying to write a letter. Okay, I was doing okay at first, and then my pointer started jumping around and going different places, and then I'd be typing, and it wouldn't be typing, it would be typing it somewhere else. Okay, and I said, well, maybe what I should have did when I opened it up, and even before I started, I should have hit save. Maybe that would have stopped that and kept everything in order.
No, was it a laptop?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a common problem with laptops. You know this touchpad mouse? When you're typing, if your palm hits that touchpad, it thinks you're clicking the mouse. That's why it's jumping around. So a lot of laptops up in the top row, you have function keys. There's probably a button up there to disable the touchpad while you're typing. You can hit the disable touchpad button at the top, and then you can type. And if your palm hits the touchpad, it won't make your mouse jump around.
Yeah, another thing too, I was trying to hook up a wireless mouse to it.
Yeah.
And I was having a problem. Anytime I go up there and I select mouse and the other device and stuff like that, and then I will go ahead and take the mouse and think that I got the pointer, and I don't. So I'm trying to figure out what did I do or I didn't do.
The laptop?
Yeah.
Bring it in to help desk. We'll take a look. I'm not sure what that is. We'd have to take a look. Okay, so we're about done for today. One thing I do want to show you, just because this has been some confusion in the past. Remember I said that if you sign into your browser, you can synchronize your settings and your bookmarks and all that with a different browser at home? Well, to sign into the browser is up here in the browser menu. See my little face up here? That's my personal Google account. That's how you sign into the browser. if you notice, there's another one here. That's not signed into the browser. This is signed into Google, my Google account, Gmail. Okay, so there's two. This is signing into the browser that will synchronize your stuff. And if you click on it, you'll kind of see. You'll see, okay, so this is me signed into my browser, and this is my synchronization is on. So if I added a bookmark in my history, it's synchronizing with my home computer, my work computer like this. This is me logged into my Google account. And sometimes you have more than one Google account. And if you do, you can come down here and this would normally say add an account. So it looks like add another account here. But if you have more than one Google account, because like this is my work email, which is also a Google account. If I click on that, what it does is now I'm looking at my work email in Google. Oh, and I can click here and I can say, no, I want to look at my personal Google. And you'll see the picture change. And now I'm looking at my personal Google account. So this is an important thing to notice. This is where you sign into your Google account. Or if you have multiple Google accounts, you can sign into more than one at a time by choosing this add another account button here, add another account. Or you can sign out of all accounts. But if you notice, I use this a lot, so I'm kind of in many different Google accounts here. And this little checkerboard is all your Google apps. And okay, well, that was the basics on how to use a browser. Next Friday, we're going to be talking about safety and security on the internet. We're going to talk about online scams. We're going to talk about shopping online. We're going to talk about banking and credit cards and what information is safe, what is safe to use, what you should be careful of. And we'll talk about some common scams too, because it's a,
How do you- how
Thank
do
you.
close out, the right way? Is it a certain such thing as that? How do you just close it out or shut it down?
the browser.
The whole-
So, okay, so in our, we
The laptop, let's say.
So every application in your laptop runs in a window. Okay, and so you can have more than one window open at a time. You can have one window with Microsoft Word in it. One window is your browser, and you can have another window that may be a solitaire game you're playing, right? Each window's got a big X on the top right-hand corner, which will close the application completely. So if you wanted to close, if you were done with Microsoft Word, hit that red X, it'll close Microsoft Word. If you're done with your browser completely, that X will close your browser completely. Sometimes you're just done with a particular tab, like you might be at CNN, here's New York Times. You might be at the New York Times on this tab, and you might be in Google in this tab. But you might want to keep your internet open and just close Google and stay on the New York Times, and that's when this little X will do it. But this big X is what will close the entire browser when you're done using it. Like that.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for coming. Have a nice weekend. Enjoy the cool weather. Thank you. Hope to see you next week.
You know, did you hear anything about Amazon getting rid of Fire TV?
No. It's a fire. Yeah, the Fire